Hey Radiant Souls, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Heather. I'm an intuitive artist, author, animal communicator, energy healer for pets and people, psychic channeler, medium, and I'm on a mission to empower and embolden others to connect with their divine radiant light and honor the sacred connection with all life. One of my favorite ways to do that is with a monthly energy forecast that I've been doing since 2022, and it is time, my friends, for November 2024. I want to tee up a couple of things before I get into the theme and explore it a little more broadly, because I want you to know if you are experiencing some of these symptoms, I guess, for lack of a better phrase, I want you to know you're not alone. So I've had conversations in some of my private appointments within my private community, the Radiant Way, and we are feeling it at the end of October. So many of us are absolutely feeling a shift and a change energetically. And we may also be experiencing that within our physical body. But some of the common things that are going on very specifically at the end of October, and I think they'll continue as we go into November, are appetite changes, the way food impacts you or what you feel drawn to eat, what you feel almost no longer is a good thing. Taste buds are changing. The way in which food affects us is changing. Some people may have sudden kind of intolerances to caffeine. They may have different preferences to things. They may be eating differently, meaning maybe you were a 3-meal-a-day person and now you're kind of picking at food throughout the day, or vice versa. Some of those patterns are changing for people without them intending to. We can all make that conscious choice, right? To say, oh, I'm going to do intermittent fasting, or I'm going to change the way that I eat. But this just seems to be listening to the call of our bodies that are asking us to do things differently. The other big commonality that I'm seeing is with sleep. So there are a lot of people who are not really able to get a full night's sleep anymore, and they haven't for weeks now, and it just feels like this relentless restlessness. However, sometimes it's not making us feel diminished or depleted. It's like we can do with less sleep and still function at a level that maybe would have required us to have 8 or 10 hours prior. So I think we're going to see some of this continue as we go through November, but I really wanted to start with that to let you know if you're experiencing that, you're not alone, because that's the first thing people say is it just me, or ... are these things happening? So there's a lot of that going on. There's kind of an itchiness, a restlessness. I think so many of us also just feel that something is coming. There's something impending. There is this big cloud or this big presence of energy coming. I don't even have a good word for it. But a lot of people are observing that. So if you're in that camp too, you're not alone. So the theme for the month of November as we go through November, and if this is your first forecast, I also want to say that it's not specific only to November, meaning this energy doesn't start at 12 o'clock your local standard time a.m. on November 1st and absolutely stops at the end of November. There's some variability. So we're talking about the next 4 to 5 weeks, maybe up to 6 weeks, and everybody will experience it a little bit differently. And this is the energy in the collective. The theme for November 2024 is Fortitude. And the way my guides were showing me kind of dissecting and breaking that word out in a way for us to understand what the prevailing energies are going to be. When we look at the definition of fortitude, it is courage in pain or adversity. So right off the bat, I'm alarmed because I want to forget the courage part and I want to say, hold up, wait. What's up with the pain and adversity? What can we expect for that? And I think it's not necessarily that there is some big impending event. However, my team was very clear. There may be loss, there may be pain, there may be chaos, there may be a dissonance, there may be an eerie quiet, and there may be a boisterous chaos of loudness. It's going to be a season of extremes for some of us in that, where we absolutely will face the scary thing in our lives. Or we kind of feel like, where is the scary thing? Why am I not seeing it? Why is it so quiet? That's that eerie quiet, is that sense of it shouldn't be this calm. Like that feels alarming. So there's a couple different ways to experience that, but the main point is coming back to that word courage. And my team was really breaking it down to look at cœur as being of the heart, the French word cœur, and age. So it's the age of the heart. And I think this is for many of us in this community on this path. It is the activation and I want to say solidification, but I don't mean like hardened. I mean, it's like when it really clicks into gear for us of the fifth dimensional heart. So what it means to be in a higher frequency heart space. But to get there, there are some tunnels and some pathways and some shadows to walk through. And so as we're witnessing those, it's almost like what we're seeing around us throughout the next few weeks is the litmus test to say, no, I fully stand in my own courage. I fully stand in that space of my heart and what I am standing for. Fortitude. What do I have an attitude of standing for? And not being pulled off of that center. So it was really working with the themes of protection for yourself. Because if you think of fortitude, sometimes we go to fortress. But the team was saying there's not a need to feel guarded about anything. There's a need to feel secure. And we do that for ourselves. We bring our own security when we are living authentically from that space of our heart. And then when we are also activating those higher frequencies of higher dimensional, fifth dimensional heart energy. So what's interesting to me too, when I think about this and dive into this a little bit deeply, in our third dimensional world, our everyday human existence that we've known for however long we've been on this planet, we have so many phrases around taking the heart and seeing it as this external thing. I wear my heart on my sleeve. There's the song, Take Another Piece of My Heart. That person swept my heart away, or that's not really a phrase, I just made that one up. Maybe it's a phrase for you where you are, but we have this view sometimes of the heart being able to, or, I'm brokenhearted. My heart's been broken into pieces. We have this concept, even if we're saying it kind of unconsciously, we have this concept of the heart being a finite thing that can be divvied up or externalized to us. And this is the time to completely rewire that for yourself. If you catch yourself saying something like that, or if you have thought something like that, it is irreducible. It is a force multiplier more than anything else. So it's not that you experience a loss or a heartache and then there's a little piece of light shut off in your heart. It's that you experience a loss and a heartache, and it makes that muscle, it makes that area, it makes that beautiful heart energy so much more vibrant because it's been tested in the real world. It's almost like you take something from theory into practice and you own it and you embody it and you wear it so much better, so much more boldly. So that is the energy that we're seeing walking into November 2024. Really living from the space of your heart without fear, with this sense, even if you need to manufacture it. Because sometimes we look around us and there's not anything or there aren't many things maybe that make us feel secure. There's a lot out there that is of a scary, chaotic kind of nature. And that's okay. It's coming back to self. It is, in fact, kind of disentangling or decoupling from anything in the external, needing to give you security, needing to give you validation, needing to give you identity. So it's almost like you're seeing all these choices. And in the United States coming up, absolutely, there's a big choice point with an election. Many other countries too are in an election year. So it is the theme of choice. Where do you make that choice from? And really looking at what your expectation of the end result of that choice is. So are we baking into the theme of choice that there is a right choice or a wrong choice? And right means I'm good, I'm safe, I'm secure. Wrong means, oh no, I should panic. Because that energy of, yeah, I'm good, I'm safe, I'm secure, or no, I should panic, that's never external to us. So it's kind of like, why are we externalizing that? That's another way to outsource your heart energy, in a sense, to say, yes, my choice was correct, and so therefore I'm safe. You're safe inherently. You're secure inherently. You love inherently, innately, regardless of what's around you. So just examining that for yourself. And I'm not saying if you feel called to make a choice that you shouldn't, but just watch what energy or expectation you're kind of attaching to that. And I'm just picturing, as I'm saying that, like a fishing line. Like, what are you going to reel in? If you're saying there's a right choice and a wrong choice, you are reeling in polarity. You're reeling in limitation. And I think I'm going to flip, if you hear a page flipping, it's because I have notes here. Part of what comes along with this theme of fortitude is also something so many people have been feeling, this energy of being pinched, where we feel, particularly in the last half of October, and I think this carries over into November, compression, suppression, repression. And my team is saying, turn that into expression. And then taking that limitation and almost seeing it, they're showing me like the infinity symbol too, taking that compression, suppression, repression, pulling it through the space of your heart, letting that be kind of the fulcrum of that infinity symbol. And then the other side of that is expression. And when we look at the word expression, focusing on the ION at the end, meaning like the ionization, the electric charge that comes from your expression after it flows through the space of your heart. Because for so long, the structures in our world have said, you should express yourself one way. There's a correct way, or if you go along with the agenda or the programming, then your expression would look like this and should be like this. And that's what so many of us are saying, no, that doesn't work for me anymore. I'm expressing me, through my perspective, through my lens. And that is where we're seeing this shift, but it has to come through that space of the heart. And to have it come through the space of the heart requires that courage, which takes us back to fortitude. The other thing with ionization that you can think of as a little hack to remember that piece, because an ion is that's something that has a net electric charge, like a spark, what gets you going. What are you keeping your eye on? What are you watching? So what are you pulling through the space of your heart, alchemizing in that way, putting out into the world as an expression? And that doesn't mean you have to give speeches or write something or create art. Expression is just you being you authentically. And then understanding that's what you're putting your eye on, because that then becomes your perspective that you share with the world, which please do. It's amazing because no one else has your perspective. No one else has been you. So it's very needed, very necessary that we all bring our authentic expression, because that's how we all learn about one another. It's how we all learn about being human at this time on the planet. So sometimes with the monthly forecasts, I like to include a gemstone or a crystal that I feel has the energy or can kind of reinforce and support the energy that we're bringing through for the month. And this month, the crystal is unakite. And it's one of my favorites. I always feel really calm and almost blissed out when I wear unakite. And I'm going to put a picture of it here on the screen for you. It also matches, if you know the chakra system or the human energy system, often we think of green being the heart space, but depending on who you ask, sometimes someone can witness or see a little sparkle of pink in there as well. So unakite for me blends those two together. It's a little peachy pink, but it's still a pink in my book. And it's really good for grounding and for coming back to center, which is what the energy is saying for November, what will be needed as we are, I was going to say as we are witnessing what goes on, but my team was correcting me to say as we are choosing what we witness. Because there's that too. There's a lot of things. It's almost like you can have any number of shows available at any time. Could be literal shows, but could just things to give your attention to at any given time. There's a wealth of choice for that. But what are you actually witnessing? You can observe. And I think for me, witness and observe have a slightly different texture or a different weight to them. I can observe something, and that's me really not engaging with it, just seeing it. Witnessing almost feels like I'm putting more of me into it because I'm pulling it through my perspective and my lens. So we get that choice of what can I observe, what can I witness as we're looking at all of that, and then pulling that through the space of the heart. The other piece of the monthly forecast is the energy art. So I wanted to pull that up and share for you here as well and kind of talk about, what I observed when I was creating this piece. And if you've been with me for a while on this channel, I've talked sometimes these pieces often come in really quickly. Other times they're a little finicky, and there will be so many different layers to it that it takes me a while to put it all in one form. This was one of those where I worked on this piece for many, many days, coming back to it, where it just didn't feel complete yet. It didn't feel right. It didn't have the right tonality. It didn't have the right texture. And it's almost like I couldn't finalize it or finish it, get it across the finish line until some of the swirling energy of the end of October was coming to a head or coming to its own resolution. So this was or is the energetic frequency, the representation of the energetic frequency of fortitude. And just like at first glance, hopefully you observe this too. And please leave a comment. I'd love to know what you think about the art and what you see in here. Everybody sees what they need to see because, again, we're seeing from our perspective, from our lens, from our courage, from our heart. It feels really powerful for me. It feels like a lot of potential energy that we could tap into, that we could harness. The other way you could look at that if you have more of a negative lens is to say, oh, there's going to be a lot of things that maybe try to pull us off of our center. But what better way to test your strength than saying, I got it. I'm standing in my fortitude. I'm standing in that center. I'm standing in my courage, in the age of my heart. And I got this no matter what comes. I also feel that the top and bottom almost look like crystal balls. There's a bit of a look inside, and whatever you desire or see or how you want your future to unfold, this is the month to dial those coordinates in for yourself. And then really just an infusion of power. And I would say empowerment specifically is what I feel. Love to know your thoughts. Leave them in the comments below. That is the energy of fortitude. The other thing I wanted to do before I wrap up for this month's forecast is just a little walkthrough activity for us, because I want us to, there's no channeling this month because I was kind of just speaking to what I had channeled earlier with the team. But I want to do a little activity to help us practice getting into the space of our heart. Because, a lot of people just say that very casually, as I did earlier in this conversation. Just drop into the space of your heart. And there are any number of ways to do it. I want to share one with you that I was kind of channeling, and I have my notes here that I'm looking at. So in whatever way feels comfortable for you, if you're, working out while you are watching this, if you're walking the dogs, if you're having a cup of coffee or tea, or you're just sitting on the couch watching, whatever, you don't need to be in like a deep, dark meditation space for this one, because this is also something that you can connect into at any time. So it doesn't require kind of that absolute focus as far as everything in the world needs to fall away. Let's practice being able to find that space within ourselves without needing that kind of circumstance where, oh no, I need everything to be quiet. I need the earplugs in. I need the eye mask on. Sometimes that helps. I've been there, absolutely. But we also want to be able to just do it on the fly. So in whatever way feels comfortable for you, take a nice deep breath. And just imagine a little piece of your consciousness, which we picture up here, right? And you can even, if you want to do a little advanced maneuver, you can picture a cord of light attaching to your higher self that's maybe, I don't know, 12 inches above your head. Imagine that kind of spiraling down. I like to have sound effects, so mine kind of has little chimes when it spirals down. And then that comes through your consciousness of your human form right now. And you imagine a little piece of that, like a little ambassador consciousness, dropping all the way down to the center of your heart. And when it gets there, it is now the observer, it is the witnesser of that space. And if you were to describe your heart as a room, what would it look like? Is it sterile? Is it like white walls and nothing really there? Does it feel like a comfy lounge with sofas and chairs? Does it feel like a kitchen where there's just conversation and food? Does it feel like an outdoor space? Just get kind of a feel of the climate, the environment, and what it feels like just innately and inherently to be in that space of your heart. And if you don't like what you see there, it's yours. You can change it around. So if you had something that looks kind of dark or harsh in your categorization, zhuzh it up a bit. You can be a little interior decorator. Imagine putting some sofas in there, some rugs, maybe playing some music. Maybe your room is a disco, a kind of space for that. Whatever works for you. And then really just practice being in this space, being able to look around mentally in your mind's eye and say, I'm seeing the world from this room, from this place of my heart. So if your room of your heart is the kitchen, feels like a kitchen, feels very vibrant, something on the stove, people having conversation. When you see something out in the world, imagine you're watching it out the windows from that kitchen. And then how does it look? Are you less threatened because you're in that space of your heart that's really thriving and vibrant and full of connection? So what you're seeing out there is a little bit distant and it's not really threatening to you. That's your fortitude. That's having your courage. That's being in that space of your heart. And then if you want, you can also personify that room and just ask, does it have any message for you? Does it have anything it wants to share with you? Does your heart have anything that it wants to share with humanity? If it could say anything to everybody, if you could just click on a big microphone and say, hey world, this is what I want you to know from me to you. Here's the message. What would that be? And then does your heart have anything to say to the planet, the earth at this time? And you may not have a spot on ready answer. You can journal some of this. You can take this activity and try it on at different times of the day. Maybe the way you connect into your heart feels very different at the start of your day than it does at the end of your day. Maybe it feels very different when you're getting a shower versus when you're in line picking up the kids at school in traffic. Try it on different ways, but know that you can revisit that space, that room of your heart, and witness the world from there. And just see how that shifts and changes it energetically. So that's all I have for the month of November. I would love to know what you're seeing out in your little corner of the world. So leave me a comment below. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you again soon. Take care and have a great day. Bye.